overdosed 6 times.
Heroin, rock.
Hey, buddy. Hey.
Do you
He's stiff.
check for?
He's stiff.
So what you just saw could have been filmed anywhere in these 3 cities: San Francisco, Portland, and Vancouver. Because they're all experimenting with the same thing, and it's drug decriminalization.
This model that we're moving towards is destigmatizing that drug use.
But I'm most interested in this city, Vancouver, not because of what you may see on East Hastings, but because some have criticized earlier investigations as exploiting people in their worst moments.
It's an active overdose in real time right there.
So I went to Vancouver to investigate as much as possible without dramatization, but not hiding the truth either, to understand, is this saving lives or leading to more addiction? How has this policy impacted everyone from locals to users? And what have people before gotten right or wrong about Vancouver?
To not have done the video in the way we did it would have been dishonest.
I met up with Guy Felicella, who spent 30 years in East Hastings, to show me around.
There's nobody filming. Nobody's filming you guys. They're not filming. They're filming for a documentary on me, not on anybody here.
One thing I do want to ask, as someone just confronted us, what is this concept of poverty porn? Can you talk about that, and how can we make sure that we're not engaging in the same thing in this video?
There was a couple films down here. One was done by an American YouTuber. When he came down here and he filmed a bunch of lies, misinformed everybody, basically took advantage of saying things to develop this content to make money off of, instead of going down here and handing out a sandwich and building connections with the community, right?
Don't pull that camera out unless anyone asks you. You're walking up getting,
Just keep walking.
Yeah. If you wanted, this is the doorway that I slept in right over there. We
right
can go,
here.
yeah.
Let's go, yeah.
This doorway is where I used to sleep. And I used to sleep here just because it could protect you a little bit from the wind. I tell you, 11 years ago, December 25th, and I put many calls out to social media on this lady. She woke me up. She gave me a coffee, a hug, $50, and said, "Merry Christmas." And I've never seen her again. Man, I was just so moved because nobody stops. Nobody cares. But she saw me there. And I put it out many times on social media saying, hey, if that was you and you remember me, I just want to tell you, you gave me a lot of hope. And it was, 4 months later that I managed to break free and get out of here.
Okay, so I can't be the only one thinking, like, why did they allow this decriminalization where people today can carry 2.5 grams of opioids at any time?
So 2.5 grams is 5 of these little bags?
Yes.
And it seems like this decision actually started all the way back in 2016, where there was a public health emergency because 11,000 British Columbians died because of toxic drug use. And by taking the criminality out of it, it will allow people to seek help without worrying about getting arrested. Okay, sounds great, but how exactly were they gonna do this? So what they looked into was similar to the 4-pillar strategy from Europe in the 90s, where this approach includes everything from prevention, treatment, enforcement, and what they call as harm reduction.
Harm reduction is just a concept and a practice and a principle that says, hey, I know you're using drugs, and we're going to provide, health care to reduce the risks of those drugs, right? So for me, it didn't enable my addiction. My addiction I was already using. What it did was it enabled me to have time to figure things out in my life.
But as you'll see in this video, not everybody's in support. Those opposed have seen this as a recipe for crime and open drug use.
One of the first couple of weeks we opened, we had a guy come in here with a knife. It was pretty. You remember that?
And to be honest, going into this investigation myself, I thought it was pretty damn contradictory to solve a drug problem by allowing drugs.
This was the first place that I ever overdosed.
Right here.
Right here. This is where we used to sit. You're kind of shielded here, shielded there. People can still see you here, but
What are kind of like the emotions that you feel just like standing here?
yeah, it's, you get very humbling, I guess, that this was a spot where I could have been a statistic, and it turned out different.
But given the controversy of past investigations, how can I highlight these issues without exploiting the people there? Like, hey, look, poor drugged up people, look, but also not hide from the truth either. I had to see East Hastings for myself, but what I quickly found out was that it wasn't easy to see. As I was driving around and seeing the entirety of East Hastings, I'm not just saying this, but it didn't look that bad. But again, you'll only see that if you don't get close enough to see what's really going on. Whether it's people using drugs openly or people passed out on the street, one thing for certain is that what past videos showed isn't fake or made up. Those scenes are real. But what I want to do is take it a step further and actually talk to these people and who they are. And then with all that's gone on here previously, would there be people that would be willing to talk to us?
Hey, excuse me, guys. What is this building?
It's called Culture Saves Lives.
Okay.
My grandma right here is the head worker.
Okay. We're currently making a documentary right now. Would you be open to it for an interview?
I work here and hang out here at Culture Saves Lives. We serve coffee every day, feed people when we can, and then we're always looking out for the people. We always, go check them if we see them sleeping for a long amount of time. Hey, buddy. Hey.
That's why I'm walking so slow.
He's
So what do you check for?
He's stiff. Can you check this guy?
Hey, buddy. Hey, bud.
Oh, he's okay. Look.
Yeah, he's okay.
Okay.
Hey, bud, you've been here for a while. You need to get up and move. He's bald.
Could I help in any way?
No, he's...
Okay.
Everyone okay here?
Yeah, we're good.
Good. Are you okay? You need coffee or anything? No? Okay, take care of yourself.
So what got you into this line of work?
I used to be on the streets in the 70s. I sobered up in 1982. And now I know exactly how these people feel because I lived it. As First Nations person, no matter who they are, what race they are, we do our best to help everyone.
So after getting accustomed to East Hastings with the help of Guy and Mary, I wanted to speak with the people that currently lived on these streets.
How long have you been on the streets for?
Must be 20 years.
Do you know how you ended up on the streets?
Yeah, lost my home. My family's passed away one by one. I've lost 2 daughters, a wife, all my friends. COVID sucked. What else can you say, right?
Do you feel like you have enough support here in Vancouver, whether it be like the overdose clinics or the supervision clinics? What are your thoughts?
Those are being closed down by the mayor every month.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
They have a lottery for them.
I think it's criminal behavior. That's the thing that we want to control.
So did you say that your clothes just got stolen?
Like, everything I have gets stolen every night or it doesn't matter.
Is it okay to film in here? Or I was just making a story with him.
Yeah, he's doing an interview as we're walking. I'm just grabbing the yogurt. Do you have rice pudding?
Do you have any?
Just this? Yeah. Okay, just give me a vanilla.
No, it's fine, man. Don't worry about it. You just got your clothes stolen.
Yeah.
So how long have you, how long have you been out in the streets?
Well, I got bit by a spider, almost lost my leg. My house burnt down from an electrical issue. Then I started using heroin, smoking rock, which I quit.
Do you think the city of Vancouver does enough to help you?
I mean, they do what they can do, I guess. I figure they could do a little more when it comes to clothes, because they say they donate clothes and you go in there and there's no clothes.
Are you sure? Like, I know you had a couple of belongings. Do you want to make sure like it's not stolen or anything? Okay. So is everything all good? I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate it, man. I feel like this decriminalization that Vancouver has as a policy has been extremely controversial. Why do you think this is?
I think what it's highly controversial in here is that people haven't really given it the ability to look at, I keep reminding people, it's a toxic drug crisis. Listen, we need all the tools in this thing. You have an astronomical crisis in North America. Like if you look at Portugal, right? Portugal decriminalized drugs. Portugal has a great healthcare system to support people. It has job placement programs. It has recovery and treatment for people. But one thing they don't have is fentanyl.
Fentanyl, a drug that was originally used as a painkiller, started pouring in from China due to the country having less regulation around chemical production, and so it had the ability to ship large quantities at low cost. So these ingredients were then sent to Mexican cartels like the Sinaloa, who manufactured and trafficked the drug across the US border. And since it was cheaper and 50 times more potent than heroin, it's become an epidemic where cities like Vancouver have additional challenges of more fatal overdose deaths and even other drugs being laced with legal amounts of fentanyl.
In 2012, when I was overdosing, there was a 14.7% chance that you would get fentanyl. And now it's like 85%. I mean, that's just astronomical. So the drug supply has increasingly gotten worse. And what we've done is we haven't done enough to keep up with the supply chain.
Do many of the people here know who you are?
Yeah. I do pancakes every week, and we get line up around the corner from
okay.
our building. And this is OPS, overdose prevention.
Hi.
I'll leave these guys with you guys.
What exactly does OPS do?
We just kind of monitor overdoses. It's a safe injection and using site, and the city's put these tents in just to watch the corners in the market. They tend to be hot zones for people that OD.
If you guys don't mind me asking, do you guys use drugs as well?
Yeah, that's what OPS kind of the deal is. It's like a peer thing, you know. So drug users are helping drug users.
Does this program also help you get off of that addiction?
That's what I mean. It's about a 2-year base. It's how long you should be here, and then by that time, if you didn't have a house, you should have housing and be set up with counselors, maybe into detox treatment.
Do you guys have housing?
You have housing, yeah.
Do you as well?
Not at the moment, no. I'm working on that as we speak.
Working for OPS, I'm sure they also help you with housing. Is that kind of like the track there?
Yeah, no. Anything you need to help you with, but if it's within their means, right?
I really appreciate it, man.
I got a nice tea in my hand.
No worries. It's nice meeting you, man.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you, guys.
So I can't stress this enough that walking through East Hastings wasn't easy. And I'm not even showing you half of what I saw with my own eyes because, one, to be honest, demonetization, and also just didn't feel right.
Don't pull that camera out unless anyone asks you. You're
Okay.
up getting, you know.
You said to be careful about the camera?
Yeah, well, a lot of people down here just don't need to be filmed. They got enough, stigma on them. Trying to keep you guys safe.
So in between the needles and the people passed out on the streets, one thing that I was reminded of is that East Hastings isn't just some obscure neighborhood away from downtown. It's in downtown.
We're essentially right at the intersection of like East Hastings and West Hastings, as you can see. And this is where you can really see kind of like the divide, right? Like literally, if you just look at this block, it's completely different to, I guess, the realities that we do see in East Hastings.
And so since this policy impacts everyone, I was curious to hear what the locals thought about this policy and its effectiveness. But before that, I'm curious as to where you guys stand on this topic and why.
Oh gosh, this is a little too controversial.
Because what I'm finding with this topic of decriminalization is that looking at both sides have made it way more confusing than any of the issues that I've ever looked at in my videos before. Because what I'm finding is a lack of nuance. While some are saying that Vancouver's passing out drugs for free, some on the other side is denying that this is even a problem at all. And it makes sense considering when media obviously profits from getting and keeping your attention. Obviously, a lot of media isn't about informing the truth fully, but stretching it for views. And I don't want to admit it because it's also something I've struggled with too in my own mission. So that's why I actually use my sponsor, Ground News, to help me stay as unbiased as possible. Like I use it for research for this video as well as my own newsletter. So Ground News gathers related articles from around the world in one place to compare coverage on the same story. So for example, this story, I can see that there are 28 articles and whether it's covered more by one side or the other. So you can see how it shows the political bias, how reliable the reporting practices are and who owns them, and so you can think for yourself instead of being told what to think. So go to ground.news/gen or use my link in description to get 40% off the Vantage plan, which is how you can get unlimited access to all these features.
What are your thoughts on the decriminalization policy here in Vancouver? Do you think it's been successful or unsuccessful in your eyes?
That's an extremely hard question to answer.
I think it's trying its best to be successful. There's still obviously some challenges that we're overcoming.
I think it's been awful. Yeah. I think like the thing is, it's just like you need punishment to like, it's just like you need a deterrent, you know? You ask, I guarantee you, any Asian watching this, if you fucked up in front of your parents, your dad would spank your ass for like 18 hours. Like that's like a playful side, but like that's genuinely what you need though. Like when you've like fucked up in like greater society, like you need something to like tell you that like what you did was wrong, face like punishments for it so that you don't do it again.
The first step is decriminalizing it so that it's not, illegal to seek the help that you need, right?
What changes do you think the city should make when it comes to this drug policies?
Probably sell people drugs so that if they want to do drugs, they can do them and they do them in a safe way and the government makes a little bit of money in the process. Stop giving out free drugs. That seems stupid. Clean up the streets, preferably. Like, you can't just squat on a street. It's like not how a normal civilized country works.
Where should they go then?
I don't know, figure it out.
Most of the time, I find people are just like too nice about it. Bro, like my tax dollars go to like safe injection sites. You know what I mean? It's like, is that really necessary kind of thing?
How has it like personally impacted your life though? Like, do you feel like you're unsafe walking around the city?
Yeah, like you weren't here for that. One of the first couple of weeks we opened, we had a guy coming here with a knife. It was pretty fuck. You remember that?
This dude pulled up to our store the other day with like a purge mask on, just like acting real like diabolical type shit. But at the end of the day, like it's not like the worst. You know, it could be a lot cleaner, it could be a lot better, but like
you've only been here for a month though.
You're not wrong.
You've only been here for a month, you know? Like
Yeah, it is a tough topic.
A lot of people are scared, man. Like they feel like they're
But that's also like what I'm trying to do with this channel is like we should talk about it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, 100%.
If you care about something, you should talk about the good and the bad.
I agree.
So we heard from locals and business owners alike to understand what's really going on here. And so I wanted to hear from the man himself who's faced the controversies and someone who I consider a peer, in full transparency, a friend.
This is Vancouver, Canada, a city that made every drug legal. Drug addiction, overdoses, homelessness, and crime.
Okay, so what exactly happened? So Tyler Oliveira is a fellow journalist and YouTuber, and look, bro is absolutely killing it. And as you can see, even though many people liked the investigations from the likes and the comments, it wasn't without its controversy.
If you don't mind me asking, what were some of the lies that he engaged in?
The whole thing. I mean, it was really just so egregious.
So this is Michael Manitoba, who works as a volunteer at the Overdose Prevention Center, the same organization that I interviewed those guys earlier at, and here he was captured having an overdose.
Filming somebody at their vulnerable moments is absolutely unacceptable. It's like we're shaming people, and this creates a tremendous amount of stigma and discrimination. It really just kind of reinforces what's always been really the narrative in society, is that some lives matter more than others, and drug users' lives and people who struggle on the street don't matter much.
But if we're gonna look at it both sides, is that fair? Based on what we see on the video, Tyler was filming on a public sidewalk when Michael stepped out, and that according to this tweet, his intention was to acknowledge the opioid epidemic and provide insight to consider when thinking of solutions to solve it. So I wanted to ask Tyler myself, because as always, both sides at least deserves to be heard.
Our goal is simply to educate, inform, and entertain, and hopefully do all three at once. We're boots on the ground, as they say, balls deep, trenches thick, talking to folks from all walks of life, trying to figure out what's going on the planet.
I think many people on Twitter are saying that you made it sensationalized, that it was poverty porn. Yeah, how would you respond to that?
I would respond to get on a plane, go to East Hastings, go for walks, see what you can find. I think the biggest moment that made like the mainstream was we were walking on the street and a guy was having an active overdose. We learned in real time on the sidewalk. I mean, I think that was the frustration, but let me ask you this. That is a real life human with real family, with real friends, and for whatever reason, the lack of support network, the lack of institutional safety nets, the lack of remedies available on the streets has allowed him to be in that position for a prolonged period of time. And it seems like acknowledging the reality that is his situation in real time has some value to the broader public in remedying what is going on and helping this individual. And at the very least, to turn a blind eye and pan away from that situation would be an extremely inaccurate portrayal of reality.
Is there anything that you want me to ask him as part of this video?
Yeah, why would you lie? Can't tell me you told the truth in the video, because you didn't. I mean, I broke it down for him, and he knows, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I did tell him that I will be talking to you, just so, for me, I cover both sides, right? I care about the truth. So he's aware that he's aware that
him too, because he has a very different perspective, I think.
Sure.
See, I don't even know if everyone's in opposition. That's what's so frustrating. I don't think anyone wants anyone to suffer or be on the streets. That's the biggest. I think everyone seems to have a different perspective on how to solve these things, and then it leads to these.
And that's actually kind of my goal, is I want both of you guys to just like say what you guys think, and then maybe you guys can also realize that you guys are probably on the same side.
You know, and isn't he charged with like 19 counts of...
I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah, he is. He's charged with a bunch of offenses for stealing identities from homeless people, taking advantage of homeless people. Yeah, here, let me pull it up. I think
stealing identities?
Yeah, here, hold on, I got it. Kevin Dahlgren charges.
Oh yes, I think his friend that he was with. Yes, yeah, that Kevin guy.
Yeah.
Is the guy. Yeah, who was charged. Yeah.
So Tyler hanging out with pretty shady characters.
Another I guess controversial aspect was your host, Kevin. How would you respond to those criticisms?
Okay, here's the deal with Kevin. So I've filmed several videos with Kevin. I think he's a great, charismatic outreach dude. I think Kevin did great work with us, but I do not spend 24 hours a day with anyone. But I know that after we filmed that Vancouver video and then an Alaska video, the next day later, it was on Halloween, I see this guy's mugshot because someone DMs it to me. I'm like, happened to Kevin? I had no clue what the was going on, obviously. What's the upside? We haven't filmed the video with him since until he gets the charges cleared and beats the case. From my personal experience, I think he's innocent, but I don't know what's going on. So it's a frustrating thing. It's like you interact with all these characters. They all have their own independent lives behind the scenes. You see them for a fraction of what their life is. You work with them on certain bases, and then you can only hope the best, but I don't know what's going on.
Towards the end of your video, right, you talk to a politician, and I personally think she's being extremely disingenuous.
Dude,
yes.
She folded on us. She
folded.
on us.
What happened there?
I mean, we had an interview with her. We put the interview up. I think it got some heat in Vancouver, and then she folded, is my assumption.
Fortunately, the government is only telling half the story, and they've only put half the work in.
I mean, you can see my tweet response. I called her a spineless politician afterwards.
It's pretty clear that she knew that she was being recorded, right? Like, you guys were hopping on for a video.
Yes, it was on Zoom.
Yeah.
I respectfully give her a middle finger because we were yapping on the Zoom call for a good 30 minutes there. I feel like we got finessed there a little bit. She folded when public opinion reversed a little bit on the presentation of East Hastings. You screwed us over a little bit here.
Any last words for the Vancouver situation?
I mean, is it a situation? Everything's a situation. Everyone has a voice on Twitter. Anyone can be pissed off. I feel like everyone's pissed off about anything that doesn't align with their... Here's my thoughts on nonprofits and people that are professionally involved in these problems. It's a thought for the viewer. If the problem was solved, would these people be out of a job? I don't know if we glitched out or...
No. I know you're asking me.
Even in me and you talking, right? I had some concerns, and the people I work with had some concerns, right?
I'm curious, why did you agree to this interview with me?
Well, I think for me, because, it's my story. Obviously, I want to showcase that, there's a lot of good people down here in this community, and there's a lot of tremendous amount of services in this community that support people. My hope is that you'll showcase that part, right? With my story too, it's just a powerful reminder that you never give up on a person. Because if people would have given up on me, I wouldn't be here. So don't give up.
And just as I was leaving Vancouver, Oregon, who was the first state in the United States to announce decriminalization, just announced that they're ending the experiment. Oregon has now re-enabled police officers to confiscate drugs in public areas and is now punishable by jail time. And I'm not making this up, just as I was finishing making this video, Vancouver actually just announced a similar thing.
This amendment will make public drug use illegal in British Columbia.
But one thing's for sure, and it's that this was one of the hardest videos that I've ever made. I mean, not only was it heavy seeing the realities of East Hastings, but it was also challenging to determine the right approach to investigate this while still pursuing truth. And it's a depressing thought, but what I'm slowly beginning to realize is that can't anything in media be considered exploitative? And maybe it's a cop-out answer, but maybe the only thing that we can judge is intention. Because just like the policy of decriminalizing drugs was most likely aimed to save lives and not destroy them, I like to think the same is for mine. And so even though you guys will probably accuse me of being some middle ground grifter or just that I should be embarrassed of being a centrist, I never got into this business so I can please everyone. Because let me make this clear in that if we don't share the same values, this channel might not be for you. Today, the world is becoming more divided each and every single day. And even if you say you're open-minded, you probably hate 30% of the population. And the only reason why I keep going with this channel, and I firmly stand by this, is that the only way we're gonna reverse and get out of that is that if we're exploring all sides of every issue, and especially the more controversial topic. But look, clearly I'm no saint. I've f***ed up before and I'll continue to make more.
Am I just like taking advantage of people in like the shittiest situations?
And I mean shit, you probably might think that this video is a mistake. But no matter what you think, let me leave you with this one thought. Someone once said, a storyteller makes up things to help other people, and a liar makes up things to help himself. And so if you want to help me change how society approaches issues, sign up for my free weekly newsletter where we cut through the noise of news to deliver that one big story that you need to know from both sides. But if you don't care about all that, if you want to watch more videos, here's a good one for you.